Yeah, good morning, all of you. I'm audible.
Yeah, hi, good morning.
Yeah. Okay, so let me share my screen. So today we are going to discuss Maven. So Maven is okay. So it's a build automation tool, guys. Maven is build automation tool. It's not a developer tool. It's a It's not a DevOps tool. It's a developer tool. Maven is a build automation tool. So the use of the Maven is so as I said here, for example, let's suppose I got a requirement to develop some project by using Java programming language. So usually the first developers, what they need to do, so they create a folder structure for main code and to test the test cases and dependencies, libraries, and all. They will prepare some folder structure. The first they need to take care. So if you got any requirement to develop an application, so what they need to do first, create a folder structure. The first step is folder structure. They will create a first folder structure to develop any code. So in this folder structure, so they will place here main code is main means main source code. Okay, main source code, main SRC, main source code means main SRC. And also they need to create a folder structure test SRC to test the test cases source code and libraries and dependencies. So usually, yes, usually if you got any requirement to develop a project, so first developers need to create a folder structure. Okay, developers need to create a folder structure. Okay. Let me write again. So first main SRC, main code SRC, test means test cases source code. So they need to focus first these two important folder structure. And after that, in the same code, we have to add the dependencies and we have to add a libraries. So in the source code, so for example, there is some login page. So developers are writing a login page. So Flipkart login page or Amazon login page. So usually they need to write a code inside the main folder, main source code folder. Inside they need to place a code. And to test the code, they need to run some test cases. To run a test cases, they need to place a code into the test SRC. And here the very important one is dependencies and libraries. To run a code, for example, my code is connecting to some database. My application want to connect to database. So I need to add a database dependencies with respect to libraries. The same thing, if my source code is talk to some other service like application. The application related plugins, dependencies I need to add here. I mean, what we can add so build process to build a code, the required dependencies we need to add, right? So to build a code, we have to add some dependencies. We have to add some dependencies. To build a code, we have to add some dependencies. Dependencies and libraries. Okay, dependencies and libraries. Okay, so usually guys, for example, if I want to add a dependency one, for example, dependency one, MySQL plugin, MySQL connector. So MySQL connector is required to connect the MySQL database for your application. In this case, what I can do, MySQL connector I can download from Google. Okay, different website, MySQL website or somewhere, Google MySQL website. So again, I need some to test the test cases. So developers, they can use Java Selenium or JUnit test case to test the test cases to process it. So I need test cases dependency for test cases to test the code, So these dependencies we can take again from Google. So different website, test cases, some related Google. JUnit website, we have to take from JUnit website. So MySQL connectors we have to take from MySQL connector. So JUnit test cases, test plugins, dependency for test, they need to take for again Google for JUnit test cases. Whatever the required dependencies, every time we need to go Google and download the plugins and pack it and add into the source code and build the process. To build, build means what? We can build the code means we can generate a final outcome. Sorry. So by using build process, so we can generate final outcome. Okay. So to generate the final outcome, first we have to add a dependencies. We have to add some dependencies to work a code. If you have not add the dependencies, your code will not run. Definitely. Once you add the MySQL connector only, your code is able to connect MySQL database. Otherwise, your code will not run. So, okay, all are good here. But the problem is here. So the required dependencies, so maybe 10 plus dependencies, 20 plus dependencies, you need to add your source code. So if you can see my source code, I have added so many dependencies here. The same thing here. In your source code, the required dependencies, for example, so the MySQL is running on AWS service. So we have to download the AWS plugin, CLA plugins, dependencies. For example, your source code want to connect AWS S3 bucket. We have to download AWS plugins. So the dependencies mainly depends on your source code, the behavior of the source code, the connection of the source code, the application of the source code, whatever the source code we are developing, we have to add the required dependencies. Those dependencies you need to be add manually into your folder structure and you can run the code. So the code will work. The reason if the code is good, if you write a code well and adding the dependencies, definitely the code will run success. The reason the dependencies are there, libraries are there, your logic is correct, the code will run. For example, if the dependencies are missing, your code will give an error, no dependency. So in this case, okay, in the laptop, you can add everything manually. So you can package a format like a zip or something, you can run a code. Okay, that's can understand. But exactly where we can deploy this code into server only, right? So where we can deploy the code into server only. So once you test the code locally, after complete the testing part locally, so we need to deploy this code into server. We have to deploy this code into server. Okay. So before that, what you need to do, we need to build the code. After that, we need to test the code. Building and testing process. Once we done, we need to deploy the process. Deploy the process. So this is build process. Okay. Let me add one more line here. Yeah, this is Git source code. And after that, build process. And after that, test process. Then deploy process. So for example here, so we have to add here Git process. After that, build process. After that, testing process. So after that, deploy process. So these many stages we need to be configured once we develop the code. So here, if you can see my development, for example, my development completed. I have tested this code. It is working fine in my local machine. After that, I push this code into GitHub. So my code is here. So my code is here. My dependencies and everything is there inside the Git. But what I need to do? So dependencies, yes. The dependencies, if you add manually, you need to push the dependencies also along with the code. But the process is very difficult to add the dependencies manually. So if you need 1-2 dependencies, you can add simply. But if you want to add 100 dependencies, you need to download from 100 places, right? You need to download from 100 places, like one dependency there in the same location, other dependency you need to go for the respective website. So you need to collect from different locations, the dependencies. So in this case, definitely you need to be work manual process and download it. And the same thing at the same thing. So the dependency maybe you need to be updated the version. If you want to update the version, whatever dependencies already you have added, again, the process is very difficult. You need to again download the latest version. And again, you can add into that source code. But once we deploy your code already into server, then if you want to update the code, update the latest version, it's very difficult task. Again, you need to download and you can build and you can move into the dependencies. But the adding of the dependencies by updating the dependencies is a very difficult task here. So in that case, we are using Maven as a tool. Maven is a tool, build automation tool. So Maven gives here required dependencies and plugins and libraries. So Maven will provide the dependencies and plugins and libraries. And after that, it will initiate the build process. It will initiate the build process. So, okay, what we can understand from here, okay, there is a tool that is Maven tool. So the Maven tool will give the dependencies, plugins, libraries automatic way. I think what we can understand, Okay, for example, if you want to develop a code, so to build a code, if you want to add any dependencies, no need to check in Google. Okay, Maven will provide. How Maven will provide? Come here. So the Maven, we have a two kind of repositories, guys. Maven will provide two kind of repositories. So one is local repository and other is central repository. Local repository and a central repository. Okay, so local repository, once you install the Maven, .m2 folder, a .m2 folder will be created inside the local. That m2 is means local repository. This m2 directory is nothing but local repository. And central repository is nothing but, so Apache Maven this is. So apache.org. Apache.org is the central repository path. So here what we can understand, Maven will provide the dependencies, Maven will provide the plugins, Maven will provide the libraries. Okay, all good here. But exactly how the process will initiate the Maven, the required plugins. So meanwhile, just go to here. For example, Maven, okay, MySQL connector. If I give like this, anyway, we have a Maven repository.com, ambient repository.com. This is central repository as we discussed. So this ambient repository means Maven repository. So here there is a search. You can search whatever required here. If you require MySQL, search, you will get MySQL connector dependencies. Okay. If you need this one, MySQL connector J, click on this. Here we have a different versions. Click on this version. So there is a MySQL dependency plugin. Okay. If you can take this and if you can add this syntax into your Maven inside, Maven automatically call this dependency from here. The same thing, for example, if I give Postgres SQL, same JDBC driver. If you want Postgres SQL, click on this. We have a different versions. Take anyone, come here, add Postgres SQL plugin dependency. So whatever dependency, simply you can add into your Maven. So Maven automatically take the dependencies from the central repository and initiate into that build process. For example, and very good thing is, for example, if I add this block into Maven, so now 42.7.3 version, right? After that, the version is updated. Simply, you can go inside the code. You can update just give the version, required version number here. So once you build the process, automatically Maven will take the required version from the remote repository. So here, if you want to add multiple dependencies, no need to go everywhere. The Maven will provide the required all the dependencies. Whatever dependencies you need related to Java, everything it will do. So now, so we have a one place. So we have a one place to collect all the dependencies. No need to go here and there. Those dependencies just we can search the required dependencies and take the block from here and update into your Maven. So Maven will take care. So this is the Maven, the very high level. Okay, the required dependencies we can take from the Maven and how to build the process. Okay, Maven will help to add the dependencies. How to build the process after add the dependencies. And Maven will provide some specific goals to building process. Maven provides some goals for initiate the build process. Initiate the build process. Okay, what are these goals? Okay, we can discuss later. We have a goals in Maven to initiate the build process. Okay, so let's one by one we'll discuss what are the components we have in the Maven. Those are very important. The first components, very important component in Maven is form.xml, guys. Form.xml. So Maven components, the first one is very important is form.xml. So form.xml is nothing but project object model. Project object model. Form is nothing but project object model. So this is entire dependency manager. So whatever just now we have seen that required dependencies we have to add into that Maven, right? Where exactly we can add the dependencies, that is form.xml. So we can add required dependencies into form.xml. So form.xml, we have to add the required dependencies into form.xml. So once you build the process, form.xml collect the required dependencies from the internet. That is Maven repository. Okay, MVN repository is there, right? MVN repository. So it will take from MVN repository the required dependencies and all. So here, what we can understand, only few things. What is Maven? Build automation process. Who can write the code? First of all, developers can write the code. Developers can add the dependencies. Developer can build the process. But exactly what you can do here as a DevOps engineer. So simple. As a DevOps engineer, at least we should have understand the process, how they are going to follow to build the process. And we have to see developers part is to just push the code. You have to initiate the process, build process and all. So how the build process will work? To pass some goals. Okay. To pass some goals, build process will work. Who can pass the goals? DevOps engineers has to pass the goals. I mean, developers also can do the pass the goals, but it's a continuous integration, continuous deployment, continuous delivery model. The initialization are what? Deployment, testing, build. You need to configure inside the pipeline. The pipeline will trigger means the process will work end to end. So here, at least we should have understand goals as a DevOps engineers, how to deploy the code, how to build the code. To build the code, to deploy the code, to do any actions. So we have to understand Maven goals. So here, the DevOps engineers where we can focus is Maven goals. So to before build the process, I mean, goals means what? Ready to build. Okay. By passing the goals means what? If you want to test the test cases, if you want to build the process, we can start the process. So if you are start the process means before we have to make it ready your code, make it ready your dependencies, make it ready your libraries and all. Then we can test the code and build the code and whatever the actions we are going to take care. So here the form.xml is where we can add the dependencies. This is very important part. Okay. And here, so the source code and dependencies and everything is ready. We have to start the running some goals. Okay. And also we have a key components in Maven, guys, along with the form.xml. We have a artifact term. What is artifact here? So this artifact is, this artifact ID is nothing but we have to give project client name or something, whatever. How to give the client name here? Com dot, we have to give com dot. For example, client is Apple. We have to give com dot Apple. So once we start the process, Maven process, it will ask what is artifact ID. Based on this artifact ID, only project will be built. So what is artifact ID? We have to give the client name or business name something. We have one more entry, group ID. So group ID is nothing but here we have to give project name. Project name. I will show you everything here. Project name. So artifact ID, project ID, group ID and version. So these entries are required to build any project. Okay. And very important is archetype. So total 5 components in Maven we need to understand. One is formed XML, other is artifact ID, group ID, version, and archetype. So what is archetype here? Archetype is nothing but sample templates, guys. Sample project templates. Okay. For example, understand carefully. So I got a requirement from the client. You need to develop a sample application. You need to develop some application. Okay, application is related to, for example, Spring Boot application or web application or whatever Java kind of something application. So what developers need to do first start the folder structure. I mean, develop the folder structure and start the development activities, right? Writing a code and all. And to test the code, first we have to add the dependencies. After that, we run the code is running or not. The business logic, whatever we have written, it is executing or not. We can test. So here, first our task will start with folder structure. After that, after folder structure completed, for example, if you don't want to write any folder structure by you, we have a sample templates already. Spring Boot template, Java microservice template. So Java MySQL, whatever required templates we have. The templates will provide by archetypes. This archetype is nothing but sample project templates. You can choose any one of the template. So once we choose any one of the template, locally one project will be created as per the template. Simply go inside. You can update your code, update your dependencies, start your build process, or you can generate your code by your own way. That can take care everything by you. So here, let's understand first how Maven will work. So let's go to here. Yeah. So my Jenkins are already connected, right? Let me connect this server. Okay, already connected. So ls. So guys, first, if you want to work with, we need to install Maven. But very important thing is how to install install Maven. Okay. So very important thing is Maven will work based on the Java programming language. The background Maven will work the background with Java programming language. Okay, Maven works based on Java programming language. So in this case, definitely we have to install Java first, then Maven. But the good thing is here, if you install Maven, Java also will install. No need to install Java. If you install Maven, Java also will install. Okay. So how to check the Maven version after install? So this is the process to check Maven version in Jenkins section. So once you check the Maven version, already we can see the Jenkins version also. Okay. So here, let me write the steps here. What Maven will do? Maven will generate a dependencies. So Maven can generate a dependencies, and also Maven can give sample project templates. This is called archetype. So here the folder structure also will be created by Maven. So for example, okay, I have installed the Maven. If I want to check any sample templates, so we have to run. Let me open the Maven working notes. You will get a clarity, guys. Just be patient. Okay. So now we can see what is Maven. Maven is a build automation tool usually for primary for Java projects. Maven can also use build and management projects written in C, something different programming languages. So what is the advantages? Maven is build tool, build the project. Yes, build means adding the dependencies, libraries for the code. We can package the project by passing some goals. Okay. passing some goals. And also by using Maven, we can manage the project and automate the process. We can generate the reports also. Maven is written in Java programming language. It's maintained by Apache Software Foundation. That's what we discuss. Once generate the archetype with the sample project, see archetype is nothing but what sample project. Once we generate any sample project by using archetype, we can get some folder structure. Okay, we can discuss later what is this folder structure, how it will. So, and here after run the goals, we can see jar var file in the target folder. So once we can build the process, final outcome will be created, right? The final outcome will be in the jar format or var format or EL format, depends on the your source code. So build process we are using for Java, Maven, Node.js is npm build, Python, Gradle, .NET is VS Code, CNC, Mark 5, make something we are using. And here the folder structure, as we discussed, SRC main means source code is required, main source code. And SRC test means unit test cases for the to test the source code. Resource are nothing but if you want to add any third-party files and something, we can write the resource block. I will show you now everything. So whenever you can create a Maven project, we will get formed XML. This is very important, guys. So from where we can create a project. See, if you want to create any sample folder, sample template. So we have some existing templates to start the process. So for example, if I want to write a Spring Boot application, okay. So I can start the process from the scratch, or I can check is there any archetype is available for the Spring Boot application. I can modify the existing code. So if I take a sample project, I will get the folder structure. I will get formed XML. I will get sample dependencies. I will get sample libraries. I can modify or I can generate from the scratch, whatever. So whenever you can run the project, guys, you will get formed XML. Run the project means if you can take the project from the sample templates. The formed XML is nothing but project object model that I already discussed, right? So formed XML Maven configuration file control the build process for the project. This file will be complete into the projects. So if you can see here, so by using this formed XML, we can add some dependencies. So I will show you here the adding dependencies and some. So formed XML contains two entries. The very important this is entry question also, especially for developers. Formed XML contains two important entries. One is for dependencies and one is for plugins. I will tell you why plugins here, what type of plugins and everything. What is dependencies here? Responsible for downloading the required third-party drivers libraries from the remote to local. Remote means what here? Central repository. Just now we have discussed, right? Yeah. Next. Plugins, nothing but different configurations to run a project. Example, component something. Okay, we'll discuss that one also. So this is the first code, Maven archetype generate, guys. So if you generate this process, we are able to see sample templates. Okay, let me execute this. So I can see number of templates, n number of templates. You can choose any one of the template suitable for your project. So to run a dependencies first, to run a archetype, we need some dependencies taken from there. Download from the central, see, download from the central, download from the central. Let's wait, we can see it will start the process for sample archetypes. See, these are the archetypes. 492, 584, 692, 793, 1083. Okay. See here. Now I can see number of templates. So you can choose any one of the template here. For the sample project, I'm saying that. Or you can start your project from the scratch. Development of the source, folder structure and adding POM XML file and something. But for example, if you can see here different projects, we can see here. Okay, different projects we can see here. So you can take any one of the project here, the required frame, the required suitable for your project. We can search and take. Developer can choose this required project, or we can directly develop our project from the scratch and everything. So let me take any one of the number here. So you can take 3291. Anything you can take it. Anything. So for example, 3291. Okay. So JBoss. Okay. So I'm going to give 3291. 32. You can give any number, no problem. You can give any number. 3291. If I give, so I need this template. Okay. Choose the number. We have two versions. Okay, take anyone. Okay, see group ID. Okay, this project is going to create. Okay, this project is going to create which group ID? So as we discussed, right, group ID is nothing but we have to give like this com dot the client name Apple. The name is name they can suggest whatever the name we can give, no problem. Artifact ID is nothing but project name. Project you can give project one. So version just keep as is. Our package also just give entry. Yes. Yeah. Build success. LS. See project one is created. So project is created from the sample template. By running the architect generate command, we can see the number of templates. We can choose any one of the template by giving the group ID and artifact ID and just give enter. One project is going to be created. Let's go project one. We can see LS. Okay. So we have a different source codes. Project one web. If I go project one web here. So SRC code. So I can give tree command here. We can see the folder structure. Okay, let me install tree command. Tree command will help to see the folder structure. Yeah, again give the tree. See now we can see here. First SRC main is nothing but what? Main code. SRC test is nothing but what? Testing code. Okay. And POM.xml is very important. As we discussed, POM.xml is nothing but dependency, whatever dependencies are required. So to run this code, what are the dependencies required? That dependencies already added in the POM.xml. Let's go and check the POM.xml. So this is the POM.xml file is. Here, if you can see, number of dependencies plugins are there. Let me check the dependencies, the required dependencies, whatever they have added for this project. If you can see here, this is sample dependency, com.ml project one. So EJB type, something they have provided. So they are using JBoss. So JBoss dependency they have added. And again, they have added something regarding to JBoss CD API. They have added. And again, so these are all dependencies only, guys. The required dependencies to work with this code. So we have to add it to the POM.xml. Like this process will work. Okay. Yeah. Again, if you can see, go inside the SRC. LS main means main code. LS CD Java means Java code. LS CD back LS. You can take. Okay, there is some XML, something VI. So they have written some code here. So this is just sample template, whatever I have taken. So this is generated from my architect. So let's understand now the process and everything. LS. I'm going to remove everything. The reason I'm not going to take any template, my already code is ready, developers already written. So let's go to my Maven. So you will get a clarity now. Go to the Maven now. Sample code. Okay. Okay. So let's go to clone this code. Sample code I'm taking here. What exactly developers need to, DevOps engineers need to do here. So first I'm going to clone the code. Git to clone. Oh, I'm install. Git type in. Just you can run now. ls. Okay, cd maven project ls. So we have so I have developed some code with source code and test cases. There is a formed example. So src is nothing but what? Let's go inside ls. src is nothing but main code and test cases code. If you can see this folder structure, you will get a clarity now. So this is basic source code. I mean, this is basic source code folder structure. So src means here main code. This is the folder structure they need to create developers. Test cases code, they need to follow this folder structure. So in main code and test code, both should be there in the src folder. This is standard one. So here com means whatever com.apple you are giving, right? Something. This is first com. After that, given the group ID, whatever you have given. Same thing, test cases com, whatever group ID you have given. This is the process of the folder structure. Okay. Now my end. So cd main, let's go there inside. cd java, cd com, cd project, vi app.java. So this is the sample code, guys. The sample code is, this one is the sample code. For example, this code is written for login page purpose. Okay, login page purpose. So user login using with username and password. Okay, so username password I have already mentioned in the config file. Using resource bundle, something developers take care of this one, and calling this config properties. And here I'm using username string using password. So the condition is, if you can see, if user is equal to username and password is equal to password, return one. Here user is equal to user means what? So if you give correct username, correct password, it will give a return one. For suppose if you give the wrong username, wrong password, it will give the 0. So from where it will collect the username and password? So if you can go my source code, what I have cloned now, if you go inside. So this is the resource config properties. Username equal to ABC, password equal to ABC at the rate of 123. So for example, username equal to ABC, password equal to ABC at the rate of 123. If I give the same, I mean, my username password is correct only, it will print 1. If my username password wrong means it will print 0. This is the condition I have given in my main code. So now, okay, to test the code, we have test folder, right? To pass the test cases. So these are my test cases to test that code. So just I'm taking sample code. One code is to given login page purpose. To log in, we have to give username password. The username password I have already given in configured properties under resource folder structure. To test the test cases, I have written some test cases code to test the main code. So here, if you can see, 2 test cases I'm passing here. So if you can see this, the block, first one is build process and test process. Build means build the process, test means test the test cases. After that, one final outcome will be generated. That final outcome we can deploy into the server. This is the process. Okay, till here is okay. So I'm passing 2 test cases. The first test case one is my user login credentials ABC and ABC123. If both are, if I use ABC 123, it should give 1. Next test case. If user can give ABC and ABC at the rate of 123, it will give a 0 flag. But actual condition is what, guys? In my main code, actual condition is what? So my user details are ABC is a username, ABC at the rate of 123 is a password. If I give this 2 only, it will print 1. Otherwise print 0. But I have given in reverse way of my test cases. 1 is fine if ABC 123. 0 if ABC at the rate of 123. Actually, this case 0 should come. If I give ABC 123 means both are not correct, right? Actual password is ABC at the rate of 123. But if I give ABC 123, wrong case. So you should print 0. And next is what? These two credentials are correct. Username and password are correct. It should print 1. But I have given test cases in reverse way. Means if user can give like this, it should print 0, but it should print 1. Means it should be fail. So, and if you ABC at that 1, 2, 3, if you give 1 means it will success test case. Wanted I have given 0. So now, okay, my code is ready. My test cases are ready. Now, if you can go and check the format XML file, that is very important one. So here, if you can see the format XML. Yeah. So I'm adding only one dependency. The reason this is simple, just login page. I'm not calling any database and all. To test the test cases, I need, org.testing dependencies are required. I'm adding the test cases dependencies only. For example, if you wanted any MySQL dependencies will be added in the format XML. It will call. So how to add the MySQL dependencies, for example, this is org.testing test cases, right? If I want to add MySQL dependencies, for example, you need to add, go to MySQL dependencies. So here, search MySQL dependencies. Connector or something. So take any one of the version here. So simply you can copy and come to your here. You can add the dependencies. Adjust here. Yeah. It should be under dependencies folder. Dependency. Okay. And commit. So once we build the process, format XML take the MySQL dependencies from the remote repository along with the org testing. Like that, if you want to add multiple dependencies, simply you can come here, go to Maven repository, take the required dependencies and add here. So format XML will give the dependencies from the remote repository. And here, very important thing you need to understand, first runtime, Maven will take the dependencies from the remote repository. I mean, from here. So again, you run the same project. It will not go to remote repository. We have a local path, that is this one. There is this. Yeah, this one. So Maven call the dependencies from central repository through local repository through it will give. So next time if you run the local repository, store the dependencies. So next time if you run this, if you build the dependencies will call from local only. No need to go for remote repository. I mean central repository. So now just start the process now. If you can see my end. Okay. Yeah. So my end, what we can understand, my code is ready. My test cases are ready. How to build the process in the Maven. So Maven, we have a different goals, guys. The goals are Maven clean, Maven compile, Maven package, Maven install, Maven test. We have a different goals. Let me explain each goal, each task. So let me go here. The first one is maven clean. So clean the repository, clean the project, clean all files for previous build in the project. And next is, I will show you here each and every code. Maven compile. So compile the process. So here compilation is required means, so if you write a Java code, so system cannot understand your Java code, right? System can understand only binary format only. So here compilation is convert your Java code into C class files to machine understandable language. So compilation is nothing but what? Convert into binary form like C class files. C class files. So here it will convert into binary format. Otherwise, your code will not be executed inside the hardware. Hardware can understand only binary language, right? We have to convert your code into the compilation process. And next is what? Maven test. So Maven test, if you run, it will test the test cases. Whatever test cases you have given, it will test the test cases. And next, Maven package. If you run, generate the final outcome from the project. And last, Maven install, same. Generate the final outcome. Final outcome means jar file or war file. Generate the final outcome. Into project along with and also .m2. Okay, just we can understand one by one. So the first goal, guys. So here actual DevOps task will start. So my developers are saying that my code is ready. So can you build the process? We need to generate a final outcome. Okay. In this case, very important thing is ls. Okay, you are inside of app.java, right? If you run maven clean, so maven clean goal means mvn clean. Build failure. The reason, guys, so you should run this maven goals inside same directory of pom.xml. If I give ls, my pom.xml is not here. So go to back. The reason I will tell you. Yeah. So my pom.xml is here, right? If I run mvn clean here, I'm going to execute first goal, mvn clean. So clean process is initiated. The reason, guys, if you can come here, pom.xml will give not only dependencies, plugins also. What is plugin? Here plugins, pom.xml will provide the plugin to run a goals. What are the goals here? Let me write clean goal. Okay, so compile goal and package goal. So these are the sample goals, right? Package goal, install goal, test goal. To run these goals, so Maven will give the plugins to run this process. So Maven will initiate these plugins. So if I go to pom.xml, I can see these goals. So if I go to pom.xml, see, I can see some plugins here, compiler plugin, okay? Different plugins I can see. So if you run this process, what we can see, whenever you run the goal of MVN clean, formed XML, take the necessary plugins from the central repository from here. So I have already, so my formed XML inside already plugins entries are there, right? So that it will call from remote repository, I mean central repository to work on this process. That's what you should run the goal inside formed XML only, not outside the formed XML. So for example, if I give ls, I'm able to see my formed XML. So you have to run the goal from here only. So for example, if I check here ls, okay. So now my source code, my test cases, my formed XML, only three I can see here. If I give tree, see src inside, only Java code is there. Test code inside, test cases code is there. Resources inside, properties are there. Properties are nothing but resources is what I have given username, password file, right? Configuration file. This is. So now if I start the process, for example, if I run again clean process, clean goal is nothing but what? The previous build, if any configurations are initiated, everything will be deleted. Only clean means only your pure code is there. Test cases, code, and config properties. There is no any additional files if I run a clean. See, this time, scan the project. There is no any unnecessary files. Only your code is there. That's what the quickly will happen. So now I'm going to run next goal is compile. If I run compile goal, so my SRC code is there, right? It will convert into mission understandable language. Java C class files. It will be created. See, first time to run this goal require some plugins and dependencies. Maven will take from central repository. If you can see from central, all the required dependencies plugin it will take from central repository. So, okay, what kind of plugins it will take? Whatever entries are there inside the formed XML only. Again, if you execute one more time. So this time quickly happen. The reason first time only it will take the required plugins dependencies from the by using internet from the central repository. And next it will store into .m2 inside M2 folder. So if you want to check .m2 folder, cd .m2. Yeah, here, if you go repositories, everything is stored here only inside. So inside, if I go inside com, okay, inside org, the required plugins will be stored inside these folders only. See JNU test cases. So next time, if you take these dependencies, it will not go for central repository. It will take from local repository. That's what quickly happen here. Again, if you run Maven goal here, clean something, it will not run. Why? Formed XML is not here in this path. Again, go to back ls, go to your Maven project. You can run any command now. Again, formed XML will be is here only. Okay. If I give tree command, so if you observe here, target folder is created. Okay, target folder is created. When we can run MVN compile goal. What is the MVN compile goal? It will convert into your main source code into mission understandable code, means .class files. So .class files, if you want to check here, src, go here. Main, this is your main code. I'm just showing you here, Java com project. So this is your actual code, right? So it will not executable inside the hardware. It will not execute directly hardware. It has to convert into Java C class files, mission understandable language. So what we can do, we need to compile this code. How to compile this code? By running the MVN compile code. Where exactly it is created? In the target folder. When the target folder will be created, once we can run the MVN code. Which goal it is? MVN compile. Yeah. So now, if you go for the target folder, classes, com, project, same path, everything it will be created like this only. If you check VA app class, applet class, See, your code completely converted into C class files, mission understandable language, binary language. That's what. Otherwise, code will not be executed. When it will be converted into C class, once you run the ambient compile command. ls. Yeah, again we can see target folder is created, right? Whenever you run the compile, target folder will be created inside the C class, Java class file will be generated. Now, if I run ambient clean, what it does, the previous goals, whatever files will be created, everything will be deleted. If you can see, if I run ambient clean again, clean the project again, ls, see target folder will be deleted. If you give tree command, again same position where we can start initial stage. Again, you can run ambient compile. Target folder will be created along with the Java class files. ls, see target folder will be created. Check tree, see the inside app.class class file will be created. Again, ls. Okay, so we know ambient clean, we know ambient compile. Now we can check the ambient test. What is ambient test cases? Ambient test is what? The goal of ambient test is to test the test cases. We have already written some test cases, right? When the username password is correct, it will print 0. When the username password is wrong, it will print 1, whatever. If I run the ambient test cases, the goal is what? Ambient test only. Whatever test cases are there inside. So first time I'm running the ambient test cases, that's what it is taking dependencies and plugins from the central repository. It will store into local.m2. Next time if you run, it will not take from the central repository, it will take from local repository. Okay. So guys, if you can see my build got failure here. The reason I can easily understand. The test cases, if you can check, go to here. CD Maven project. CDSRC. I will show you. Okay, I will show you here better quickly. Yeah. So this is my code, guys, actually. Some login page code. The logic is what? They can log in this page by using username and password. My username and password, whatever entries you have given in the config properties. So if you can go for resources inside config properties, this is my username equal to ABC, my password equal to 120. If anyone give the same username, same password, so my result will be here 1. If anyone give the wrong username, wrong password, my return will be 0. This is the condition of my code. So what I have written the test cases. So if I give my test cases, my username ABC and my password ABC at the rate of 123. If anyone give, it should be 1 means it's a right test case. And if I give ABC and if I give instead of ABC at the rate of 123, if I give ABC 123, this is wrong test case. But quite opposite, I have written a test cases. This is wrong actually, but it should be print 1. I'm saying that. So definitely wrong test case. And this is correct. It should print 1 only, but I'm giving wrong test cases. That's what my code is going to fail you. For example, now if I go inside, otherwise what I can do, simply I can execute, I can change 0, I can run the git pull also. Anyway, let's go here. ls search cd test java on project ls. Okay, test cases if I open here. Okay, so when so when my ABC, I have given username, password, and configured properties is this one, right? Actually, this is wrong password. So it should print 1 only, my test cases. Wrong password means my logic is 0, right? But I have given 1. That's what the test case is failure here. If I give like this, I'm giving the conditions when the 0 will give. If the wrong password, if anyone give, it should fail. Correct password, correct username, if anyone can give, it should succeed. This is the 2 test cases. Okay, this time you can run again. This is not your tasks, guys. Once again, I'm saying developers has to take it just for your idea only. I'm showing you, but you need to understand what are the goals here. What is the test goal? What is the compile goal? So what is a clean goal? That is only we need to understand. Anyway, I'm going to run again ambient test. See, build got success. Run 2 test cases. Failures are 0. Alert pass. Just for understanding how we can run the test cases. So pass. So now what we can do here? Okay, my test case is also fine now. My code working also fine now. So we can generate the final outcome. To generate the final outcome, we have a goal, MVN package. So you need to observe one thing is, if you run MVN package, also the process will start from compile and test and package. If you run even package also, the process will start from compile. For example, guys, MVN clean. If I run, everything will be deleted, only my code will be there. Okay, see, only my code will be there. Simply if I give MVN package, it has to generate final outcome. Before that, it has to test the test cases. Before that, it has to compile the process. But no need to give here MVN MVN compile, test and package. No need to give. System can take by default any command. If you run any goal, if you can execute, system can start from compile process only, except cleaning. Cleaning is nothing but we are not executing anything, right? So if I give any goal, system can start from compile and test and a package, and then finally generate the war file or jar file. So if I give ambient package, if you can see, the process will start again from compile test cases. See, compile test cases quickly executed. The reason the dependencies plugins already there in the .m2, but compile is package is first time I'm running. That's what it is taken from the central repository. Okay, compile means what? It will generate a final outcome, right? Jar file or war file or ER file depends on your application. LS, again, you need to understand one thing. The jar file, ER file or war file depends on your application. It will be generated inside the target folder. And compile Java class files also created inside the target folder. So if I run tree command now, see, this is the final outcome. Inside the target folder, it is created. Inside target folder, directly jar file will be created. So this is the final outcome. Source code plus dependencies plus plugins plus libraries. If you can take and deploy anywhere, server is able to understand inside this jar, everything. Okay, dependencies, plugins, everything. So no need to deploy all the packages and all. This is final outcome. Or if you run install command, both are same, guys. Install package, both are same, but difference you can see now. Yeah, difference. The jar file will be generated inside the project if you run package. The same jar file will be generated even if you run mvn install. The same jar file will be generated inside the target folder along with .m2 folder also. So my jar file, I can go and check .m2 folder. Where exactly I can go? Inside the root directory, .m2 and com tcs something, whatever name you have given. Copy. Let's go. So here, cd, run this, ls. See, here also jar file will be generated. Jar file will be generated. So when the jar file will be generated inside .m2 local folder, once we run the mvn install command, but only generate jar file inside the target folder, you can run simply mvn package. Depends on the requirement. ls cd mvn project. So now my jar file generated, my test cases pass and compilation process done and everything is done. So this final outcome we need to release somewhere. So this is continuous delivery. If you want to deploy, take this one. Same we need to deploy into the some server. I mean here, let's come here. Yeah. After done the test cases, I have released this war file, right? This war file or jar file. Yeah, this jar file, if I store somewhere, any artifact repository, this is final artifact, right? So this jar file we can store here, but I'm not going to deploy now. So if you want to deploy after a few days, you can run deploy into server manually. Manually, you need to run the pipeline here for this task. But same time, if you want to deploy, so the process will continuous integration, continuous build, continuous test, continuous deployment also. So this is CI/CD. This is CA. So again, in this entire process, we can learn tomorrow also with Jenkins. So this is CA/CD. Continuous integration, continuous deployment. This is continuous delivery. We are not deploying now. We can deliver into the any artifact tool. Later, we can manually deploy into the server. Continuous integration, continuous delivery, continuous deployment. In the source code, if any changes will come, for example, in the hello world code is there, right? Instead, any changes will come. Again, we need to run the goals, build, build and test, generate warfare. Again, source code, any changes will come, build and test, generate a jar file, and deploy this jar file. The effective changes will be updated into the server. So this is very high level of Maven, how developers will work with this Maven. Okay. So any questions now? I know little difficult to understand this process, but this is not our responsibility. Once again, I'm saying that our responsibility is to run the goals only. This is our responsibility. Source code is ready means we have to run these goals. By inside the Jenkins, we can run any one of the goal. Jenkins will clone the repository. Jenkins will run the any one of the goal, and Jenkins will deploy this file, generate the jar file. Jenkins will deploy the jar file into any one of the server. So this is entire process. So where we can focus. So if you want to understand, so we need to understand Maven is a build automation tool. So formed XML, we can add the dependencies like in interest. It will call when you run the goal, it will call the required dependencies and execute the code and generate a final output. This is the very high level. So any questions?
Veera,
Yeah.
I have a doubt. In yesterday's class, while launching of instance, we have added am user, right? Why we need to add that?
Sorry, can you please repeat? Please come
Yesterday
again.
in yesterday class we have added am user, no Veera.
I am user. Okay.
Why we need to add that? Actually, what is the user?
Yeah. So for example, here EC to instance is a, okay, let's go here. I will explain here. Yeah. So we have a two environments, guys. One is local environment. This is local environment. So this is cloud environment. So if you run Terraform command here, these are CLI commands, right? Terraform command. So Terraform will execute once you have a access only. Terraform CLI command when it can execute once you have a access for AWS services. In that case, we ran AWS configure and configure access key secret key here so that you are able to connect from your local laptop to your cloud. But here, for example, guys, if you configure root credentials means here. The local, if you configure root credentials, so if I generate a keys, if I configure into your local laptop, so by root by having full permissions, so root is able to create any kind of services. Any kind of services means Terraform is able to create a service if you have a permission only. For example, inside the Terraform configuration file, S3 is there and EC2 is there. I mean, if I execute my Terraform command, inside EC2 S3 configuration files are there. First, the configured keys. You already configured keys, right? Access key, secret key. That access key, secret key should have permission for EC2 and S3 creation. Otherwise, Terraform is unable to create. Terraform is a platform to create a resources if you are having a permission. If anyone will come and run the execution of Terraform init and plan and apply, it will not create a resources in the cloud. First, you should have a permission to log in a cloud. So how to log in? By passing the access key secret key. Without access key secret key, if you try by using Terraform command, it will give an error. Configure keys first, like that. Okay, this is clear. But here, why we need to generate access key secret key configure? For permission only. For CLA permission, we are running CLA commands, Terraform init and Terraform plan and all, right? So you have to create a access key secret key from the root. And once we configure, so we are configuring root credentials. That's what root is able to create any service inside the AWS. For example, if you configure users credentials, let's an example, user keys. IAM user keys also there, right? If root is created any IAM user, and root can give the generate credentials for user also. User can log in AWS CLI. But in this case, user don't have permission for S3, for example. Don't have permission. If you configure users keys here instead of root keys, so inside Terraform configuration file, S3 creation is there, but it will not create. User don't have permission error you will get. At that time, you can go IAM user and add the S3 permission. So what we did instead of configuring the user keys, we configure root keys. That's what we are not facing any issue here. Any service you are able to create. But in the same situation, if your access from the local, we have configured root keys. That's what we are not facing any issue. But if you are inside the cloud, so I'm inside the cloud, right? I'm inside the EC2 instance. So this EC2 instance is a medium to run a Terraform init. So to execute the Terraform, we need some server. So I'm creating one server to execute Terraform commands. Only clone the repository and execute the commands. So here the system required permissions to connect AWS environment, and inside all the required services only the system is able to create a resources inside the remote, inside the AWS remote by using Terraform. Yes, this system having full permissions. How I can say I have configured root access key, root secret key. But now you can see this EC2 instance as a system. Okay. So I'm running the Terraform commands inside the server, not outside the AWS environment. Even inside the server also, for example, here S3 service, EC2 service, RDS service is there. So by default, if EC2 want to connect with these services, how to connect from EC2 to here? We need to run any CLI command, right? So run a CLI command to copy the file from here to here. Run a CLI command to connect RDS. Run a CLI command to S3 to S. Whatever, we have to run a CLI commands. If you want to run a CLI commands, again, you need to configure AWS configure command, configure the root keys here. But here, since you are inside the AWS environment, no need to create a configure keys. We have a role option, IAM role option. What we can do, create IAM role. So here requester is what EC2 instance, right? Create IAM role behalf of EC2. Okay. And attach to role these permissions, S3, RDS, are full permissions, admin permissions. Let's understand this is admin. Or you can give different SNS. So now this role we need to attach to EC2 instance. Now EC2 is able to communicate S3, RDS, SNS, either CLI approach, Terraform approach, Python boot3 approach, except console approach, since this is enter console root account. So now if EC2 is trying to connect S3, IAM role is there, the EC2 is able to talk to S3. This EC2 able to create S3, either Terraform approach, either CLI approach, either Python bootstrap approach. This EC2 is able to create RDS, delete RDS, connect RDS, either same Terraform approach, CLI approach, whatever. But this EC2 is unable to create if I give any other permissions, for example, AWS Lambda service. It is not possible to connect AWS Lambda, this EC2 instance. The reason, the created role, attached role for this instance, this role is not having Lambda permissions. If I add Lambda permission, since this role is already attached to EC2 instance, right? This EC2 also communicate Lambda also. Or simply create, after create a role, give admin permissions, attach this admin permission to your EC2 instance. Your EC2 will do anything. Any service it can create, delete, update. The approach is Terraform approach, CLI approach, Python. So if you're outside of the AWS environment, we have to configure the keys, as it is not possible to attach IAM role to my local laptop. That's what we have to follow, the keys approach. Since you are inside of the AWS environment, no need to configure the keys. We can use the IAM role option. Create a role behalf of which resource we are going to connect to other resources, and attach required permissions, and take the role and attach to respective EC2 instance. Then EC2 is able to connect respective services. Even EC2 service also, we have to give EC2 permission to role even. Clear now?
Yes, Veera, it's clear.
Yeah. Okay, what about others, guys?
Clear.
Okay, so try to understand this project. So sample Maven project, how to build. Once again, I'm saying we need to focus on here only running the goals. So I will share this repository link to WhatsApp and this material also. So tomorrow also we'll discuss one more time with a different project. So we can habituate the process and we can start the build process by using Jenkins. Clear? Okay, so
Yes,
I'm going to
Veera.
wind up this class. Yeah, bye-bye.
Thank you, Veera.
Thank you.
Thank you.